Hello, Facebook family and friends. My name is Terry Hatchett, and this is Hatchett Chronicles.
Hello, Facebook family and friends. I'm in the background again.
That is my wonderful, God-fearing, intelligent, handsome husband, Frank Hatchett.
Come on, you got all that.
And everybody that knows me knows that I am just in love. In love. I'm in love. Anyway, so as we have stated, we are.
Turn the camera on. Let's just say
He's gonna be on camera, y'all. This is a treat. That's my handsome husband, who, by the way, does not like to be on camera. However, he is such a supportive husband. God gave me this. God just placed it on my heart to do a Facebook Live Chronicles, Hatchett Chronicles of different issues. And it was important to me. And being the loving husband that he is, he decided that he would support me and be partners with me on Facebook on this journey. Let's say journey.
I'm partners with you anyway, but on this getting on the camera thing.
Yeah. So we compromise. He doesn't have to get on the camera. You just hear his voice out the air.
I will eventually.
And yeah, he promised me eventually he will get on. So our topic today is going to be a very heated topic, maybe. The reason being is because it's about the recent events that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, as the people that know us know, we live in Richmond, Virginia. Not too far from Charlottesville. For the standard driving, it takes an hour. For my driving, it takes about 45 minutes, but we won't go into that. I do not want to incriminate myself. But anyway, and for those who don't know what went on, the Ku Klux Klan men had a march or rally or whatever you want to call it, over the weekend, this past weekend. And let me just state, for most people who know me, they know, I will use the word radical, quote unquote. Society says radical. I have a radical way of thinking. Okay, and I use that word loosely because I just don't think like the norm. I've never been a society says person, and people know that. So, and to put it out there, public announcement, the views that are being shared today is personal and of our own. Okay, so we don't try to, what's the word? We don't try to beat people up with our opinion. This is just this is our opinion, how we feel. However, since we have started this Facebook Live thing that we're doing, we have asked that people just make comments on what they wanted to talk about, you know, any issues, any subject that they wanted to speak about. We have agreed that we would speak on it. Most of the time it's about relationships and love and staying together, being together, because that's just where we're at. But we welcome all suggestions and ideas and are willing to speak openly, have an open forum, because that's the part of what we're doing here today. That's a part of why God put it on my heart. Because if we can just enlighten one person or help one person with something they're going through or give one person knowledge, then we feel that we have accomplished something. You know, I grew up with the thing that it takes a village to raise a child. And today's society, I feel like we've gotten away from that. That no longer is there a village. When I came up, you know, the women gathered together to help each other out, even if they didn't agree or didn't like each other. The men held it down, even if they didn't agree or didn't like each other. They held the children down. There was no such thing of these new shows with the DNA and everything like that. In my day, you slept with a woman, that's automatically your child, whether it is or not. And either you or a family member, a grandma, aunt, somebody in the family took on that child and raised that child, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. And it's just not that way these days. And so also it's hard to talk about change or talk about wanting to write things, but never do anything to try to write it or to try to add to life. Because let's be honest, just talking is not enough, especially in these days and times. And we all need to wake up and be open our eyes to what is and what's real, fact, no matter how ugly or pretty it is. Knowledge is power. So we're going to get this topic going. I was trying to wait for some people to come on, specifically people who have asked to speak about this subject. But we're going to start in and hopefully they'll catch on. So, my darling.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your opinion of what happened? Well, first, let me just say this. This, however, for people who don't know, this is not the first time that the Ku Klux Klansmen marched in Charlottesville, Virginia, okay?
Really?
This is actually the second time. Recently.
They've been doing a lot of marching everywhere, really. I remember one year they marched on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Georgia.
But, I mean, recently they just did a march in Charlottesville. So this is like the second time. So I'm going to ask you, honey, what's your opinion? Then I'm going to state my opinion and I'm going to state why. And I ask you that you just explain why you feel the way you feel. And what do you feel on it?
To tell you the truth, and I'm just being honest, and please don't take me for being racist or disrespectful or anything, but they can kill themselves. They can fight.
That's harsh.
They can fight until the ground cave in, until the sky explode. They could kill themselves because, I mean, like, there's so much emphasis being put on this, but when it comes to them shooting us down in the street, when it comes to, you know, Black Lives Matter, when it comes to, you know, all of those things that you know, deal with racism, period. You know, we don't really get the just due that we're supposed to. But then at the same time, you know, we tear up our own communities when we march. You know, so for me, it's like a catch-22, man. I just say that, you know, black people we gotta get it together. We can't keep destroying each other because of society says things. First of all, and second of all, if the Ku Klux Klan want to protest, white supremacists want to protest, Nazis want to protest, let them walk down the street. Don't pay them no attention. If you feed them fuel by getting out there and arguing with them and tripping with them, then they really have a cause. But if you don't trip with them, they're gonna walk, get tired, and go the heck home. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That's just like if you argue with someone and you arguing with someone and all of a sudden they just stop arguing with you. You can't argue by yourself. You're going to stand there and still just scream and yell? You're going to look mighty stupid.
Well, here's my consensus on it. I said in the beginning that this is not the first time. Just recently, the Ku Klux Klansmen had a rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, I do not condone anybody who lose their life. I think it's awful. It's a horrible thing.
You made me sound like a bad person.
No, baby. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. I'm just stating this for the record, and I'm sure that you agree. It's a horrible thing to lose your life in such a violent crime. However, on the other hand of this, as I stated, I'm going to state again for the third time, this is not the first time that Ku Klux Klansman has walked the streets of Charlottesville recently, okay? So here's my thing. When Sandra Bland got killed, which was a setup, by the way, when Mike, what was Mike's last name?
Mike Brown.
When Mike Brown got killed, okay? When what's his name? Trayvon Martin got killed. The first thing that the news people did was go back to something they did in their past. Oh, they got high in high school, or they did this, or she was this. And it was not as much media on the wrongful death of these young black men and women as there is on this young white female. Now, again, I say it's terrible for anyone to lose their life. But let's be real about the situation. Number one, that when you don't want something in your state, Caucasian people have the power not to have it done in their state. You can believe that. They make it not happen. Now, being that this was the second event within, I would say 2 months, it's really less than 2 months, that the Ku Klux Klansman has walked down the streets of Charlottesville, then why wasn't it stopped before they got there, is my question. If people felt so strongly about it. Number two is, okay, so the Caucasian people was fighting for everyone's right, okay, and that, you know, that the Ku Klux Klansmen is violent and spew hate. But, you know, we as people of color need to fight for ourselves. That's number one. Number two, that was a white on white crime. If you look at all the news reports, there was little to few people of color there.
You mean the thing that just happened?
The thing that just happened, there was little to few people of color there. So my question is that and they made such a big deal about this young female, the Caucasian female that lost their life. However, I'm sorry, I feel some kind of way because you didn't do that when Mike Brown died. You didn't do that when Trayvon Martin died. You didn't do that when Sandra Bland was clearly tortured. But now that the color of the skin was different, now we're going to bring awareness to it. See, my problem with that is things only come to the surface when it happens to pink people. Let's use that word. Things only is a big deal when pink people are affected. For instance, drugs. Drugs was just because we were low life, lazy, and had issues, whatever the case may be. But when a pink person, when it starts spilling over to what we call the upper class neighborhoods with the pink people, then it became a disease. Then we got to do something about it. When it comes to alcoholism for a black man is they're just a bum. They're this. But when it spills over to a pink person, then it's a disease.
And they want help and they want to get AA.
Yeah, and I feel some kind of way about that. Because for me, it's like, okay, it's only important if you're pink. And that's just my opinion on it. And my opinion on what happened to Charlottesville, well, oh well. We live it every day. We have had millions of people of color killed every day. And again, I say, I'm taking nothing away from, my heart goes out to her family. To the young lady who got killed. But speaking a person of color, I'm like, that's not my fight. Because guess what? I know my grandson's mother was attacked by a Caucasian man. And that is not on the news. That got barely no media whatsoever. Never even gotten solved. She was attacked.
You know what?
In Charlottesville last year.
That's crazy. Because you know what? But the thing is we've been fighting this fight of racism for as long as the grass has been green. And it's a terrible thing. You know, I personally, in the early 80s, experienced racism firsthand. And I can tell you some things that it was just like Mississippi or Alabama. And this was in the 80s, the early 80s, mid-80s. You understand? And, like, I could never understand the reason why they do what they do because of a different skin color. And I really look at it. I mean, you can say what cause, you can say who's tearing up what neighborhoods, this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a color. It comes down to a skin color. And our skin is darker because we have more melanin.
Baby, I beg the difference.
But you know something? This is just the way I look at it. This is just my own personal thing. Because of a color? Because you think we're superior or inferior? Because of a color of your skin? If we're not on the same plane they're on, we're not equal, we're beneath them. We are some of the most smart and intelligent people on the planet. 97% of the things used in this world today have been invented by black people. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. I guess I'll never get it because for a person to take a person's life over a skin color or they don't want mixed races and things like that. And man, it's just so many things that's going through my mind right now, like the Jewish people. You know what I mean? Hitler, he massacred millions in the Holocaust, right? But then a Jewish man will look at a black man like, we trash. Your people went through the same thing.
But not as long.
Not as long. And not the same exact thing, but it was a similar. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But I beg the difference. I think it's more than just color. It's power.
It's power. It is those things.
I'm taking a global politics class, and one of my questions for my studies was what starts war. One of the things that starts war is the fight for power. You have to understand that and that's why for me it's very important for people of color to open their eyes, that we are powerful beyond our means. But we have to realize it. We have to know it. And here's the thing. You mentioned that we have invented so many things. We built this America.
Yeah, we did.
That was already stolen from the Indians. Okay? So for us to really open our eyes, for every black person to wake up and be empowered by who they really are, do you know what that would cause?
Yeah.
Do you know what that would do?
A divine takeover.
And so it's a fight for power to remain in a powerful facade, because what they are in is a powerful facade, because they're not really powerful, but they're in a powerful facade. And let me be clear on this. I am not racist, okay? And understand what I'm saying. There's a difference between racist and prejudice, okay? I am not racist. I have a certain amount of prejudice. Everybody does. Okay? Because then we get into wordplay, which is something I don't like, but it's real. I have, and this is going to sound like a very racist statement, but one of the closest people to me happened to be of Caucasian. She's actually Lebanese and Italian. Let me just put that out there, public announcement, because she gets very upset by being called Caucasian. However, she's a sister to me. So I'm not speaking from a place of racist. I am speaking from a place of fact. And I'm also speaking of a place where I am a black female. So I understand. You can only talk what you know. And I have walked through the life where there was racism and prejudice. I have experienced it firsthand. So I am speaking from a place of that. No. Are all Caucasian people the devil or evil or out to get us? No. But the fact is, they do have what we call that to be right, to be
white is right.
Yeah, that they feel like that they're entitled. That's the word. Oh. They do have that feeling of entitlement because that was given to them. Just like we have a feeling of having to fight because that's what we have walked through. That's what we have been through. We have had to fight for what we gotten or received all our life. So all their life, they've had that entitlement.
Feeling right.
So they haven't walked a mile in our shoes, and we haven't walked a mile in their shoes. Not that. Let me just state this: I don't want to walk a mile in their shoes. I'm good with me, because that goes down into the insecurities of fighting for that power, fighting. People will find out that you're not real, that you didn't build this country. I'm good with me.
I just, it's a sad issue. It's a terrible issue. And I want to retract something I said earlier. When I first started, I said they can all kill themselves. I don't want anybody to lose their life, because life is a precious thing, regardless of what the color. And lives are not ours to take. The lives belong to Jesus, first of all. So And saying that, I want to retract that statement. I don't, and it's not that I hate white people because I have friends that are white. Cool dudes. Cool. For real.
No, I'm laughing because I just said, it sounds like something they say. Oh, I'm not prejudiced. I have many black friends.
I can count all 7 of them.
Okay, we had to lighten the mood.
But you know what's the thing is that you have to understand what racism is about, first of all, in order to want to quote unquote be racist. What cause is there? You said power. I believe that. You said entitlement. I believe that. But I mean, I've seen racism to the point where wow, I'm going back. I remember standing at school one time, and this is when I was in Babylon, when I experienced racism, right, firsthand. Me and my brother was walking down the hallway in school, and there was about 4 or 5 white guys surrounding this black dude around his locker. And I don't know what the argument was about. I really don't know, but all I remember was one of the white guys had a cast from his hand all the way to his elbow. He had a cast on his arm. And he said, "Move out of the way." He said, "Nigger, what did I tell you?" And hit the brother in the head, and the brother's head started leaking. So me and my brother went over there to help the black dude, right? So we pushing these dudes away. You know what the dude said that got hit? He said, "Don't do that, man. Just leave it alone. When y'all not around, they're going to get me again."
See, that's
and I
about
was
waking
like,
up.
"What?"
That's about waking up.
Right. So with that being said, we became a mark from that day until the day we left Long Island, New York. We became a mark. And when I say I fought every day, I fought Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, physically. I don't mean fighting by marching and yelling and I mean physically fighting. Times I would come out of the store, me and my brother, and these grown men, bikers, would jump out of cars with chains and axe handles and bats, and me and my brother we get to running. They would get in the car and try to mow us down. You understand? And before I experienced that, I was in school in South Jersey, and I had a friend. I'll never forget him. His name was Sam Molina. It was a white dude. We played football together. One of my coolest dudes, man. Coolest white dude. And when I went through that racist thing in Long Island, I was like, yo, this is crazy because, like, where I come from, we don't deal with this. You know what I mean? My god brothers are Italian. They helped raise me and my brother. You know? So, when I say I've seen it firsthand and I've seen it different, and it's because of color of a skin. I remember standing next to this white dude, and I was in a bar getting cigarettes. The bar was so crowded, I bumped into him, right? He stepped back and he brushed his sleeve like I left residue on him or something. And he turned to his man, the nigger touched me. Am I going to break out? I was like, what? What in the world what is this? I'm 19, 20 years old.
The first time I got called nigger was by a 6-year-old boy. 6 years old. And his mother was standing in the doorway, and it was down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was so furious that, because I was walking past, and he yelled, nigger, and I turned around, and I saw his mother, and it was directed at him, at her, but I looked at him, and I said, what did you say? And I said, don't you know I'll pick you up and beat your mother with you? And I pointed to her. Because hate is not something that we're born with. It's something that we're taught. And I understand that. But to be a grown woman and to hear a 6-year-old child call you a hate word like nigger. And that's exactly why I do not condone that word even amongst our people. Because let's face it, we'll go back to words. Tyreek is waving at the guy you met when he came here. My friend, Tyreek, he's waving at us. Hey, Tyreek, how are you? How you been? Miss you. We go back to words. The word nigger means ignorant person. So one of the ways that I feel we need to wake up is that we cannot, and I know that people say that you spell it different and it's the turn of a different, but we cannot begin to wake our children up if we do not first educate them and give them the knowledge. That word is unacceptable. When my kids were small, I explained to them that they would not use that word. And if anybody in school called them that word, they had a right to drag them off of the school premises and commence to whipping their behind. Now, that's where I become radical. That's where it becomes that people call me radical, because a lot of people would say, oh, well, that's not right. You're promoting violence. No, let me explain something to you. The violence has already been promoted by calling my child out of their name, an ignorant person. And so for me, they drew first blood. You know that thing of words don't hurt? That's not true. Some words do hurt.
You know something, amongst ourselves, I have somewhat a different stand on that. And maybe, people may think I'm ignorant when I say this, but it's an understanding, okay? I know that word it really defamated our character. It really made us look bad. It was a terrible thing to be called that word, back in the day. Our ancestors, they died, some of them, from being called that word and them fighting back, right? I understand that. And I understand the root of it and where it comes from, right? But my thing is this. With us evolving and the things that we do and the way that we create things, right? Everything that we do is not for everybody to understand. You understand what I mean?
I do.
And with saying that, I'm saying, okay, we use that word amongst each other in the hip-hop community, right? And some people still today get bent out of shape because we use that word. But my own personal take on this, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, that, this is just my own personal view on that word. My own personal view on that word is, if I want to sit and I call my close friends that, my close dudes that I came up with for 20 years, and we understand what it means between us, that's okay with us. But for, excuse me, for the other race to come in and think that it's cool and, you know, it's swagger to use the word, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. Because, like I said, what we do with what we have, that's our thing. You understand? That's just like, prime example, hip-hop music. Hip-hop is a culture, right? It's not just music. It's the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we dress, what we eat. It's a culture, right? I've been in hip-hop since the beginning of it. From then till now, it's been 44 years of a culture of people and things that we built from inner city, less fortunate, just telling our own story, right? And our own walk and our own thing. So we developed a community as far as hip-hop is concerned, right? Our music that we did started out in the parks and stuff like that. And we kind of let these people come in and extract certain things from our music to the point where now everything is so commercialized that we are trying to get a record deal and get money off of something that we created and let them come in and infiltrate.
Okay, baby, let me just make a point about that. And, okay, we're making history here because there's not too many things me and my husband disagree about. So, but we agree to disagree. So this is exciting for me because we're family disagreeing about something. It's not so much I disagree with you. Here's the thing. As I stated, knowledge is a power. Okay, I understand using that word and having, your own thing, your people about it. But here's the thing. It's like we don't educate our children enough, and the education is not strong enough in our community that we can, we can't have the authorities of life, if you want to put it that way. For instance, like we in our generation, and we know the knowledge, and we try to spit it over to our kids that wearing your pants down to your ankle is just not cool.
No, that's not.
But they have their own thing about it, and there's nothing we can do about it because that's their generation.
However, that's not part of the culture that we came up in.
No, but it's the part of their culture now. Now that word, using that word, because we use that word, then our kids have spilled it over. And you got to admit, this generation is something totally different. I know every generation has their quirks, but this generation, that's a whole nother topic. So, for me, if you do not say, okay, you can't use that word, and these are the reasons why you can't use that word, even though it might be, change the spelling and everything like that, or, we just use it amongst them, but they're not allowed to use it. It sends mixed signals. And because our kids' eyes are not open enough, and because the generations do not have enough knowledge, and we're not afforded to be able to use that word as a luxury, it shouldn't be used. And we talked about this before, about the afforded, when we talked about mixed races or being with a white person versus being with your own race. We are not afforded that. Even though it's not right, I'm not saying that it's right that we can't just be like the Caucasians and do what the hell we want to do. We can't, because we are not afforded that.
Why?
Because, for number one, we did not have enough knowledge about it.
Right.
Our eyes was not enough open to that. And we do not have the power that we should have as a race.
We have the power, we just don't act on it.
Because we don't have, a lot of people's eyes are not open. That's what I'm saying. We're not open enough. A lot of people are not knowledgeable enough. A lot of people are not, they don't have what it takes. This generation is strong. Don't get me wrong. I think this generation is strong. They're gaining the knowledge. They are more apt to go and find the knowledge and say, we will not take this. But again, they still have some of us. Valerie says, hip-hop is now not just confined to black because it is a culture. Culture, shared belief, and custom. I think she means customs. We may have developed it, but we also sold it to the master. Exactly. And that's what I mean. That's why we're not afforded the right to use that word, because we have allowed master, everything that we do, we have allowed master to take credit for it. Everything that we do.
Exactly.
And if you go back to, like they said, even racism. I believe, what's his name, that guy that we listened to, the comedian, the guy we
oh, man.
I can't remember his name, but he said, and I agree with him, black people can't be racist. If you understand the meaning of racism, we cannot be racist. But we have allotted the master to tell us that if we stand up for ourselves, if we say, no, you can't do this to me, then we're being racist. Or if I'm going to stand for my people, I'm being racist.
See, what happens is people they have a miscommunication or misunderstanding of race, or racism and rebellion, or racism and standing up, or racism and being firm in your belief, or racism and standing for something. You understand what I mean?
It's a wordplay. It's a
wordplay, but because a white guy might have an issue with a black person, and the black person, like, just for instance, the police. If there's a brother that has a stand, and he makes a stand and says, no, I'm not going to put up with this. That's not going to happen. I'm not going with this. I'm not dealing with it. This is not it. That's not racist.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But we allow the Caucasian to tell us that we're being racist. If we stand up, we have allowed that.
You know what? I'm not going to say allow. I'm going to say manipulated.
Okay, I can go with that word too.
I'm going to say manipulated because there's a lot of brothers that, didn't want to allow hip-hop to cross over like that. Right? Didn't want that to cross over like that. Because they knew that once it crossed over, it will become commercialized, and there goes the neighborhood. Just like when they say, when we move into their neighborhood, there goes the neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying?
But it went like that because there was brothers who sold out.
They manipulated brothers and sisters that was doing hip-hop with money.
They sold out.
That's what I'm telling you.
They sold out.
They manipulated us. Right. And then they manipulated it to the point where now we have to pay for something that we created. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, but what I say to you is,
like, I have to ask them for a record deal for something that I created.
Yeah, but what I say to you is that you say manipulate, and I say I go with that word to a point. Because for me, sold out is a better word because, for instance,
manipulation is powerful, baby.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree with that. But for instance, let me give you an example. Let's say somebody came in here and we're doing what? Like a woman. We talked about this. Another woman. You're on a plane. she said, your wife will never know. You know I'll never know. And she offers you $2 million for one night with her.
That's a form of manipulation.
To a point. For me, that's you sold out.
Not if you don't. How can that's?
I'm saying if you go for it, that's sold out, baby. Don't look at it. It's sold out. She didn't say anything to you that oh, your wife is not this or nothing like that. All she did was offer you money. The people who killed Malcolm X, they sold out. They did it for money. The people who brought the Panthers down, the Black Panthers down, they sold out. People right in their organization.
That was J. Edgar Hoover.
They sold. That was the one that started it. But I'm talking about the people that crossed, the people that was right in the Black Panthers that gave the information to J. Edgar Hoover for it to bring them down, was their own people. They sold out.
That's a wordplay.
Yeah, it is. I agree. It is.
That's wordplay.
Catrice said, hi, sister. Racism means to have a prejudice against a group of people and then to be able to power to affect policy, finances, healthcare, houses, and so on. Which means black people cannot be racism because we do not have that power. My sentiments exactly. But, however, now that's where the word manipulation come in. They have manipulated us to believe that if we stand up for ourselves, then we're racist. But again, we can't be racist because we don't have the power.
Exactly. But it's a play on so many different words at this point. But what has to happen is we have to find out the grassroots and the brass tacks of the whole thing.
You say it's a play on words, and it is. But guess what? Who invented that play on the word? The Caucasians makes that. They're the ones who made the play on the word because they're the ones who made it. It's just like we talked about the other day, the word perfect. If there's no such thing as perfect, then why is that in the dictionary? Just like we talked about with Trigg when we were talking about you can go into court and have a counselor stand up for you. But if people of color go into court and say, this is my counselor, they're going to automatically try to manipulate them into, is that a lawyer? Well, they can't do it because they have to be a lawyer. Unless you have the knowledge. And again, it goes back to waking our people up and having the knowledge and understanding that where they use the word play, we can do the same thing.
Yeah. What was that?
Or says black can be racist if we choose to and would have the right to be. Not the word racist. Prejudice.
Right.
Not the word racist.
Right.
Again,
right.
My sister is, let me see if I can go back to that. My sister, Catrice, said racism means to have a prejudice against a group of people and then be able to the power to affect policies, finances, healthcare, and housing, and so on. We have never had that power.
But we do now. Some of us. We have mayors in office. We have councilmen.
That's like saying the president run things, baby.
No, the president doesn't run things. The cabinet runs things.
Okay.
The president is a spokesperson.
Exactly.
Basically. But
yes.
But what I'm saying to you is this. At the same time, you keep saying, like, we don't have the knowledge for this. We don't have
I didn't say we didn't have the knowledge.
Some of them. Okay, listen. This is what I'm saying. We have black people that are starting to get in office. Right? They're becoming mayors. They're becoming councilmen. They're black attorneys and everything, right? So with that being said, racists and manipulation are...
My sister hit it. Catrice said we do not have enough people of color in power.
No, we don't. We don't. But it's starting somewhere.
It is. It is. But here's the thing about starting somewhere. Okay, so not only do we not have enough people in power, but then we have to look at the people that the very few. If we have 4 people of color in power, okay, probably 9 times out of 10, 2 of those people are going to get sold out or manipulated.
What it is, see, I'm gonna break it all the way down. What happens is this. Regardless of, and see, and I was trying to make this point, but we going back and forth, and we both mean the same thing, but it's just coming from a different perspective. Basically, none of the things that we're doing are designed for us in that way. And what I mean by that is, as long as the people that be, the powers that be, are structuring what they're structuring.
I know y'all can't see him. That's why you should be okay.
They're, as long as they have the power to structure what's going on, nothing is designed. It's like just like I say, when we have our discussions about relationships, right? When I say that dealing with a woman or a man, settling for that is just a pacifier for the moment. Mm-hmm. Same rule applies. You understand? The same rule applies. They're giving us, I'll give you a seat in the Senate. I'll give you a seat in the mayor's office. I'll give you a seat. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a pacifier for the moment, because once our people start to see, oh, okay, well, we have a black councilman now.
You're saying what Patrice is saying. They will go along to get along.
Right. That's exactly right.
I agree with that. That's
exactly right. They'll go along to get along. But the thing is at the end of the day, it's really not designed for us to have those things. It's not in the plan. It's not designed for that. Our design is total destruction from their part.
Yeah,
just like drugs. Drugs, just like dope. Okay? I'm talking about heroin, right? And this is facts. Anybody can look this up. They said that AIDS came from the transferring of hypodermic needles during the age of drugs as far as dope was concerned, right?
Okay.
It's a transmitted, and then they said it's a sexual transmitted disease, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's my thing. In the 60s, dope was crazy. Heroin is what I'm talking about when I say dope. Do you know how many people shared needles in the 60s with heroin and never got AIDS? Never had syphilis? Never had herpes?
We already know that was built and designed.
It was a man-made disease designed to destroy our people.
Yes, they Tuskegee Airmen.
Exactly. And what
that's how they got syphilis.
And what happened was a couple of them, meaning white people, they contracted AIDS. So now, wait a minute, wait.
Now it's a disease. We got to do something about it.
He wasn't supposed to get that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, wait. Just like moonshine has been around for how long?
Long time.
These dudes up in the mountains, they drink raw moonshine. All of that stuff is 100 proof, right? I've heard dying from cirrhosis of the liver and stuff like that, right? But when did that come along? What other chemical is in alcohol?
And we are saying that the same thing. All I'm saying is that we must be more, open our eyes more and look at the facades that are putting up. My sister, and since Catrice is on here, we had a thing about, because when we talked about Charlottesville, which is supposed to be the topic, but it's actually a bigger picture, so it ties in. But I told her that I felt like it was a facade, this whole thing. And she said no, because someone died. And I understand where she came from saying that. The reason why I said that it was a distraction of facade, because number one, it was not the first time that the Ku Klux Klan marched. They marched in less than, I say 2 months, that's giving it some. I think it happened less than 2 months. They were just in Charlottesville. In the same year. Yeah, they was just in Charlottesville. So that big hoopla that happened last weekend didn't happen the first time they was just in Charlottesville. As a matter of fact, it went around. The Ku Klux Klan is coming to Charlottesville. They're coming to Charlottesville. This is terrible. Nothing was done. Nothing said. They came. They marched. Nobody was out there fighting. They went away. The second time, they come back again. My consensus on that is, as I stated in the beginning of this feed, that if Caucasians do not want something in their town, you best believe it's not going to be in their town. So if you know that they're coming, why not head it off before they get there? For me, that poor child did not have to die. Well, young lady did not have to die if they had stopped it in the beginning.
Babe, let me ask you something. And this is real. Like, this is really deep. Don't you think that this whole Charlottesville thing, it's happened twice in a couple of months span, right? And everybody's eye is on that, right?
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction for what's going on over there in D.C., right? It's a distraction because boy, oh boy, what's going on with South Korea and the United States? You understand what I'm saying?
It's a distraction.
Everything is a distraction to keep your mind and your eye off of
what's really going
on.
That's how I feel about it. It's a distraction to keep your mind off what's really going on.
Because Trump is saying that if South Korea goes forward and goes on with their testing of these bombs, which they've been doing for years, right? If they release one, he's going to rage a conventional war.
You know what? I'm going to say one thing about Trump. And you know what? I have vowed a silence on our president. And let me just say why I have vowed a silence on my president. It was actually something that my sister, my best friend, Ann Matteo said to me. When Obama was being elected, she is very much a Republican. And so she did not vote for him, nor was she for him. But when he became president, she said he is now president. So all the disrespect that people are having should cease, because he is the president of the United States and we need to give him respect, right, wrong, or indifferent. Now, her saying that it kind of, but okay, you know what? She's right, because she's a good human being. I see where she's coming from for that. So I have never said anything on Trump. I don't agree with him. Nothing that he does. I don't think he should have been president. But I will say this about him. It is too late for anybody now to sit up here and say and complain about Trump, because you guys put him there.
Right.
And even if he is impeached, guess what? Guess who comes after him? The vice president. Guess who camp the vice president is in? Trump. It is too late. The damage is done. And anything that Trump does It's because you put him in there. So even if you wipe him away now, so what? He's there. And all his people are there with him. So if you impeach him, his vice president will just step up with the same views, the same ways that he has left. Because he is president now.
Yep.
So it's like, there's nothing you can really say on it. Except for, like my husband said, don't get caught up in the facade. Don't get caught up in the distractions that they're throwing out there. Educate yourself. Research yourself. Know your knowledge.
Everything.
Research everything. Know your knowledge.
Because,
and be smart in what you do and the moves you make.
There's a saying, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in the book. And that's true to its very core, because of the simple fact that we don't take time to research things and read things. There's information out here. There's information everywhere. And with the internet, my goodness. But then too, at a certain, at a certain time, you can't believe everything that you see and read on the internet either, because things are implemented.
But if you search deep enough, you'll come up with the real answer.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, at the same time, I had to say that too, because, you can't just click on something and believe it because it's on the internet. I'm saying do your research. Go get a book. Go to the library and read something. Get information. Share information.
Yeah. Google is the information highway, but the information does not necessarily have to be right.
Right.
Or say, yes, racism. The reason I say that it is because we have the power centuries ago to control and create arts, language, science, mathematics, etc. Power was stolen and suppressed against us. Our history was...
Our history was what?
I don't know. I lost my place. I am not good at this reading thing. What's up, all that I can't see? Okay. They distorted our light. Oh, I know what happened. I gotta move down. Okay. Yeah, he wrote a lot.
You be writing books.
He sure do. And I am not good at reading all this stuff. Okay, colored people feel as if we are beneath them. That's a fact. You see, they know that to be fat, they know without a doubt we are not a dumb people. They know we are strong as a whole. Every race on the planet involved from black facts. They broke our people down psychologically and mentally. They dissected our family gene from slavery, separated, raped our women, raped our men in front of their families, castrated our men. They distorted our light skins from the dark skins. This was a condition altered for over 400 years, and the remnants of that remains today among our people. There were plenty of Caucasian immigrants which fought and died by our sides for justice and equality. You see, you couldn't get what was happening in real time back then, like technology delivers it. Today, we are more awake than ever because of this. That's true. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Yes, sir. Excellent point, bro.
Yeah, excellent point. But you know what? We're going to have to figure out a way how we can do calls instead of writing cuss. Did I say I'm lazy? No, I'm just...
I don't know if anybody saw the thing in Charlottesville when they attacked that white man that was up on the podium. He was one of the Nazis that was coming out to protest.
Yeah, I saw that. But you know what? On something he said, said, you know what? You are right. And that was the design to break our families apart, our black families apart, when they raped our men, when they prove that, and they're still doing that, really, because they will have us to believe that black men are not in the family, that black men don't raise their kids. And the facade. And don't get me wrong, because let me just state, 3 of my children are, I have 2 gay boys, and I have a daughter who's transgender. I think that's the correct word. I'm learning about it myself. However, so I'm not saying this against the gays or anything like this, but this new fad they got with the boys dressing in skirts and the makeup and that is a ploy by the white man to take the strong black man out. And again, my belief, to take the black strong man out of the family as the head of the household. I think that's all in the ploy. It was written that if you break down the black family, if you take the strong black man out of their family, then you can control them. So I do agree so much with what you said, or I do believe that it's all in the distraction, the ploy to make us weak. And now it's coming to light. But we do need more of us to not sleepwalk and be like the Walking Dead. To know the difference between what is the distraction and what is the real. And keep our eyes on the real and not the distraction. Because again, I say, for me, I believe Charlottesville, Virginia was a distraction.
It is. I believe it is too. I believe it is too. And you know, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad because we do have knowledge, and you know, the sad part about it is that it's just my view. Say I'm right, say I'm wrong, say I'm indifferent, but this is just my own opinion and the way I view things. You know, it's sad because it seems like sometimes we wait for things like this to happen to want to
stand up and do something about it.
Right. To stand up and want to do something about it. My thing is you wait until their plan is already implemented to try and destroy what's already built. It's not going to happen. Because we've been so diluted over all of these years. It's really mind-boggling to me because there's been situations where, like, remember the time I told you I was working at the airport in Jersey, and my brother told me he's a shop steward. He said, "Yo, I could get you a union at your job." He said, "All you need to do is bring me 10 signatures, and I can start a union at your job. So the things that y'all are going through, working in those bad conditions and stuff like that, we can get a union in there to help y'all out. Nobody will get fired. They'll give you more money. You get this, that, and the third, right?" So I went to my job, and I was a supervisor at the time, and we had this thing called pre-work, where you come in 15 minutes before it's time for you to start working, and we sit down, and I give out instructions on what we're going to do for the day, right? Do you know in pre-work I explained to them how we could get a union there, and they rebelled against that so crazy. But as soon as we walked out of that room, they started complaining about the van not being there to pick us up, to take us to the post that was designed for them to work for that day. So I sat back and I was like, really? Y'all couldn't even give me 10 signatures a minute. Man, I'm not signing that. I'm not signing that. Man, look, I still got rent to pay. I got this to do. I got that to do. I got this
because
to do.
that's again that master's attitude. You know, if the master's house is not right, then the master not feeling good, we not feeling good. We still don't have enough people whose eyes are open.
Right. And I say that, and I brought that up because of this. As long as there's that kind of situation, for us to win is gonna be, it's really gonna be hard.
Because we have to wake up.
It's gonna really be hard. For us to win, it's gonna be really hard. Because sometimes if you're gonna be radical, sometimes you need to be radical outside the box.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you're going to rebel, sometimes you got to rebel outside the box. Right? Okay, Mike Brown, Black Lives Matter. First thing y'all did when y'all started marching was tearing up your own neighborhood. You not learning from that? We did that the 69 riots.
But here's the thing.
Race riots. I'm just saying.
Here's my thing right here. Okay, so when they had the thing down in Flint, Michigan, okay, and they did their peaceful rally, all of a sudden they had armed guards, and we were tearing up, we were destroying. But in Charlottesville, when it was mostly white people, and if everybody go back and watch the news, I keep saying this, but it was what it was. You see very little black people. Very little black people. And yet, that was a tragic event. This is what I'm talking about, being distracted. That was a tragic event. And again, let me state, it was a terrible thing that a person lost their life. But that was, oh my God, we got to do something. This is terrible. But when Flint, Michigan was having their thing, all of a sudden they're rioting and they're this, and you got to put where was the art, even defending the poor child, the young lady, I keep calling her a child, the young lady that passed away. Where was the men with the uniforms and the tear gas then in Charlottesville? Since that was such a terrible event. Where was they then? They knew the Ku Klux Klan was coming. The Ku Klux Klan had just been there less than 2 months ago. And where was the guys then? Where was the armed forces and the tear gas then? They didn't have it then.
Of course they're not.
So we are supposed to be all right now because Master's fighting for us. Let's go fight. That does not make sense to me. That's why my feeling is what I feel about Charlottesville. Why? Nobody was up in arms in Flint, Michigan when we were starting riots, or St. Louis. Then we were starting riots. Then we were being violent.
What happens, you have to understand what the underlying marking of the whole thing.
It says, said, it's not a distraction, it's the beam. This was already foretold in May. This was going to jump off. Batten and Trump knew that. That's been by design. We have to tear it down and remove that stigma. People have to keep it real about the Star Spangled Banner anthem. It truly wasn't written for us. You will never hear the 3 verses exactly of that song sang on national TV when it happens. Watch what happens. Exactly.
Yeah.
People upset at all for kneeling. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm not upset by it and I'm not surprised by it, and I'm not a society says person. Okay, so Master is upset and he said we should do something, so now we should all haul off and all of a sudden stand.
Grab hands and
exactly. I make my stand before then about the real issues.
Right.
I'm not. Charlottesville for me is okay. It's sad that girl had to lose her life. But
at the
same token, how many of us have lost our life? Yeah, it is what it is.
But you know something? And this is just my way of thinking. Okay, the distraction and all of that, right? Here's the thing. And call me, you can say it's petty or whatever the case. But I know how they think. Right? That was like, number one, it was a distraction. That's the most important thing. But number two, don't you think that was a way for them to say, well, the next time there's a rally with black people and stuff like that, and they say that the community is being destroyed and people died and there was a fight, we could bring that up and say, well, the same thing happened in Charlottesville. So what's the difference? You understand what I'm saying?
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, they take the smallest things and they magnify it to be the greatest things, right? When it's all on it's on it. And what happened in Charlottesville is not even on a level of the things that happened in Flint or St. Louis.
Exactly.
It wasn't even on the level of any of that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But
and here's my thing. Speaking of
Dublin, Ireland,
taking a stand. Thank you all for talking about football. That is why I am now. Everybody that knows me know I am a die-hard 49ers fan. Win, lose, or draw. And I know I get the jokes of 49ers ain't won a game in who knows how long. But I have remained true to them. This thing that they did with the quarterback, I call him K because it's hard for me to pronounce. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I always call him Mr. K. That was my name for him. But the things that they did with him, I am no longer a 49ers fan. I'm not a football fan. I am taking the stand. I'm not watching football this season. I am not interested. And that's my stand that I take because of the fact that they were the first to turn their back on him, in my opinion. They were the first. Because he kneeled. He was their star quarterback. And so now he can't even, nobody will take him.
What did they do, fire him?
They didn't fire him. He became a free agent, but then nobody would he didn't get picked. Nobody would pick him. Now, I've heard rumors. I don't know how true it is. If anybody knows, please let me know. I've heard that the Giants, I think, was going to pick him up or trying to pick him up. I'm not sure.
See, I haven't even
because I haven't followed football since the whole issue happened, to be honest with you.
I haven't been following it either.
So, but I do know that nobody had picked him up. And I think I heard a rumor, something about if that the Giants was going to pick him up. But my thing is,
I haven't heard anything on
it should never have went this far.
No.
My thing is, it should never have gone this far. That's just, it goes back, and it's not nothing new with us. That's the thing. It's not nothing new. When the guys for the Olympics, when they did their sign, it took them years. I think up until 2 years ago, they gave them back their, if I'm not mistaken, they gave
back their medal.
They gave them back their medal. But look how long it took them. They took their shine away from them. So them giving them back their medals is really
a slap in the face.
It's really like, here, let's appease them now or think we're doing something. That's how I see that. So for me, back to the show. Hey, cousin. Your cousin. Our cousin.
Kalika?
Yeah.
Yes, what up?
Or said, I could preach a sermon. I should become civil rights activist. Whatever, that's my consensus on it. Or whatever a person can do to take a stand, they should do. Mr. K, his stand was kneeling. And they beat him for it, but that was his stand. My stand is, I'm not watching football. I'm done.
Well,
that's my stand. I feel like you should not wait until they give you a facade. Like I said, Charlottesville to me was a facade. Like, okay, the master fighting, now let's go fight. For me, and I don't curse, my husband don't like me to curse, but I must say that was some bullshit.
It was.
And and everybody that knows me, I don't go in for stupid shit. And for me, that's what that Charlottesville thing was.
It was a ploy for us to take our eye off of what's really going on.
Exactly.
And if people can't understand that and they don't see that, then they gotta wake up. We gotta wake up, period.
And that's the point. We need to wake up. We really need to wake up.
It's terrible. It's a terrible thing that young lady had to die. But at the same time, just like you said, and I stand on...
How many of us died?
Right.
How many of us... I mean, even if... let's play devil advocate. Let's talk about Sandra Bland. Now, they couldn't say she stole nothing. They couldn't say she was in a stolen car. They couldn't say nothing. But they tortured her and killed her. And how much media did that get? How much did people go and march and stand up and make it known this is wrong? We got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that was a total sit-up. Yes. You can't find it now, but before, when she first died, if you had to research and go back, you would see millions and millions and millions of live feeds where she talked about it. She talked about the injustice. She knew it was coming. So that was a total sit-up. And the fact that after a couple of months, you may find 1 or 2 videos of hers because they've all been taken down.
And yet again, it's the powers that be. Yet again, it's the powers that be. And if we don't think that it's really for real, we've been doomed. Man, listen, wake up and do your research.
Stop being the Walking Dead is what I say. Wake up. Let's stop being the Walking Dead. Let's wake up. Let's realize what's going on, and let's direct ourselves towards what's really happening.
And if you're going to take a stand, take a stand. And my man Joe said something to me the other day that was real serious. We was kind of talking about this situation, right? It wasn't actually Charlottesville, but it was on the level of this, right? And we were just posing questions to one another, right? And one of the questions I posed to him was, I said, just like I just said to you about the situation where I had my brother tell me he could bring a union to the job. So I said to Joe, I said, bro, if we take a stand, how many people really would carry it out? Right? And he was like, well, man, somebody got to take a stand somewhere. I said, they'll take a stand.
Right, or said that the elitists wants it that way. Illuminati is real. It's not fake. Amen, brother. Bro, amen. We talk about that all the time. That's a whole nother topic, okay? We talk about that all the time.
Thing, bro. That's a whole nother thing. And what's crazy is there's a lot of people that's scared to talk and touch on that. To be honest with you.
It is.
It's a lot of people. But at the same time, I was saying to him, I said, we could take a stand. He said, but you have to be willing to die for
the cause.
What you believe in.
Exactly.
Die for the cause.
And not many people are.
And how many people right now are willing to do that?
Not many people are. It's sad, but not many people are.
And then you know something? Even still, not many people are. But my thing is too, like, look at Malcolm and look at Martin and look at those who did take a stand and was willing to die for that, right? It was okay for that time. But when they met their demise, right, everything just went back to normal. What was supposed to be the norm. You understand what I'm saying?
That's because
there was no more rebellion.
And you're right. That's because people is willing. You can take a perfect example of that is something I saw on Facebook. And it was funny. It meant to be funny. But it's what people do. This guy on Facebook started running. He was doing a prank. And he started running. And everybody that he passed didn't think twice. They started running.
Right.
Nobody never thought, why is he running? what is going on. They ran because he ran. So people easy to jump on the bandwagon. Oh yeah. Just like that's why the Caucasians can use these distractions like Charlottesville, because they know that most of us has the mentality of jumping on the bandwagon. Yeah, let's jump on the bandwagon. And then after we get on, if something happened to the leader, then we disperse like nothing happened. That is the problem with us, that we do that. It's just like the president when Obama was president. Let me just state this, and every time I state this, people get offended. I didn't vote for Obama because he was black. I voted for Obama because I did my research on Obama. And I kept saying, my husband at the time said to me, "Ooh, you sound prejudiced. Something wrong with you because you ain't voting for him because he's black." No, I did not vote for him because he was black. And let me be clear, he was not the first black president. If we want to get that deep, babe. If we want to get that deep, he wasn't the first black president. So, no, I didn't vote for him because he was black. I voted for him because I researched and I agreed with what he stood for. Now, that being said, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Most of our people of color jumped, oh, he black, we gonna vote for him. And then when he got in there, when it came time to vote to surround him with the right people who was going to support him, nobody voted. Because they didn't think that far. All they did was jump on the bandwagon and hired him to get him elected. And then he was surrounded. All the Democrats who claimed they was Democratic didn't think that they had to vote to keep the people that surrounded him. They stopped voting. So it was one Democrat with a bunch of Republicans. And then they looked at him like, how come you're not doing anything?
Well, with that being said, at the same time, how much stuff do you really think you could clean up in 8 years' time?
That's true too, baby. But here's my point. I'm not saying that.
Listen, I'm just saying. Things that have been implemented in 20 years, 15 years, how in the world do you think you could come in 8 years and clean it up?
I'm not talking about the job he's done. I understand that. I'm saying that for the people who thought that, okay, all we had to do was vote to get him in here, then we can just stop.
That's not it. You got to do more.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they didn't use knowledge. They jumped on the bandwagon.
Right.
They didn't have a plan. They didn't say, okay, well.
It was just because.
It was just because.
Some people voted just because he was a black man.
Exactly.
Just because they wanted to see a black man in office before they died. Because it was going to make history. Who's that?
Or.
What did he say?
He said they broke us. They broke our hope. Malcolm, Martin, Marcus Garvey were powerful for our people. We showed out in those for civil rights. We fell in line and believed as a people. That scared the shit out of the masses. Okay, I'm done, y'all. I'm just saying. Yeah, because you need to be on a phone call. He said, this damn phone, man. This darn phone, man.
Well, tell me, you can call me and I'll put you on speakerphone.
I agree that they broke our spirit. But I feel like that, and me and my son, Daniel, have this argument all the time. That I feel like back in the day, we at least had a better, we were willing to die. We didn't jump on the bandwagon. With the Black Panthers, with Malcolm X, everybody, they were willing to die for the cause. And now it's like, and this generation, don't get me wrong, I think they are more awake and they are trying to fight and they have knowledge and stuff like that. But I feel like so many of us just jump on the bandwagon. We don't do research. Our eyes are not completely awake. And we're not willing to die. We're not willing to die. That this generation, I shouldn't say we, but this generation is not willing to die. They want to sit back and wait and see. Because they are and it's not really their fault. They are under the consensus. Why should we? Why should we? Ain't nothing going to change. Exactly. If we fight for something, then somebody's going to come along. Our own people will come along and be against us. And fight us and kill us. Yeah, so why should we? Somebody's going to trade up. Trade off. Yeah, somebody's going to trade off, so why should we? Why should we? Why don't we just live our life and do what we can, and that be that? And my son Daniel has said that. He has said that to me. Why? Why? No, I'm not fighting. I'm looking out for me and mine. And it's sad. But that's...
And you can't, and it's sad, but you can't blame them. Because there's nobody you can hold your hand out to that will grab your hand and run that race with you.
Exactly.
Because along the line, when it starts to get thick, they want to detach hands and say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go back. I can't. Nah, this ain't it. I'm gonna turn back." So at the end of the day,
I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Right, it's taking too long.
This is too much for
most people won't even fight for their own if it takes too long or it's too much trouble.
Right.
So imagine fighting for a nation.
It's almost impossible. But somewhere down the line, it has to come to a realization that we're being destroyed at a rapid rate. And if nobody takes a stand, we're going to fall for everything. And that's just
I feel like, I know a lot of people don't watch The Walking Dead, but the reason why I feel like that we are like we are, because I see us as The Walking Dead. My beliefs is there is no TV show, no movie, no nothing that is just, I don't know, baby, that is just come from the mind. I think everything is, every TV show, every movie, everything came from something, somewhere. It's not just created out of the blue. That being said, I see us as The Walking Dead. I see us as zombies. And I see the few fighting. And I see the masses, The Walking Dead. And so I see us fighting not only The Walking Dead, but fighting the people who's trying to keep us down. Just like the show Walking Dead. I see us.
And you know what's crazy?
Our people like that.
It's crazy that you make. It's not crazy, but I'm just saying. It's crazy that you make that analogy because of the simple fact that if you look at it, that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. And if you look at the plight of what happened behind The Walking Dead,
exactly
how they put things.
The Walking Dead was created. Right. They were created, and in the show, they used The Walking Dead, the people that wants to remain in power, they used The Walking Dead against the rebels, so to speak, that are fighting against.
That's right.
So the rebels are not only fighting The Walking Dead to stay alive, but they also are fighting the powers that be, that it actually created.
Right. They put these drugs,
He said, okay, I'm on my computer. I don't know what that means. Does that make it better?
He might be able to type faster.
That don't help. That's not going to help. That just means more book I got to read. You are going to have to be on the phone with us. Right. Hey, Bird. Yeah, you're going to have to. When we have these things, we're going to have to call in. I can type better. No, that's not the answer.
Tell Bird I'm about to call him right now.
Bird, my husband said he's getting ready to call you right now. Or, no, what we're going to do with you is we're going to tell you what time that we're going to be on, and we're going to do a conference call with you, because I ain't for that reading stuff. I don't know what I told you, but I'm lazy. That's too much. Bird said okay. I'm glad that you're with us, or I'm glad that you're in the midst of our topics, but you need to be on the phone with us. So we're going to have to start doing phone calls because you write a lot.
Peace, bro. What's good with you, man? You just checking in, or how much have you seen? Okay,
we're about to close this because people. I really enjoy these Facebook topics. They seem to be spreading over.
Look, the topic that we was talking about was the Charlottesville, Virginia thing that happened.
And we try not to take you away from your lives too long.
I was saying
and we try to use pertinent
distraction for
topics.
What's really going on. You know what I'm saying?
And topics that maybe will enlighten people, help people, because that's what was put on my heart. Bird is talking. I don't know if y'all can hear him.
Paid protesters.
Okay, so Bird is saying that there are paid protesters, which he's talking along the lines of what we said.
They pay them to come in to start protesting. And
yes, or it's going to be our co-host. Yes, I like that. I like that.
Right?
So Bird is saying that he knows paid protesters. And along the lines of what we're saying about how Charlottesville is a distraction.
Yeah,
so he's saying that he actually knows of paid protesters. And that just goes along the lines of what we're saying, how Charlottesville was a distraction. And it's not really... We need to...
right.
Let's just say we need to be aware of what's distractions and what's real.
And
basically.
And that's a strong point. He said if the people that was around at the time the statue was built and the statue was put up, if they didn't have a problem with it then.
Are you talking about North Carolina then?
No, talking about Charlottesville.
That statue was in North Carolina.
No, he didn't protest. No, he didn't. Right. Well, Martin's thing was we could listen. You know what it is, bro. Exactly.
Okay, we got to bring it to a close because we have been on for probably about an hour and 10 minutes. So we're getting ready to bring this to the close. However, I really appreciate everybody joining in with us. Thank you to our co-host,
Hold on 1 second, Bert.
We are going to have another discussion and
in a few days,
and we asked, just like Orr asked us to do the topic of the Charlottesville, and we appreciate that, and we welcome everybody else who has any type of topic they want to discuss, or they want to they want us to discuss, or they want us to talk about. Our cousin Kalika also, I asked her to put it in, but she didn't write it in.
She had to go. She stepped out.
She had to go. But we would like to. What was the discussion? Oh, finding a mate, or is that what it was? Finding a mate. That's our next discussion. How do you know when to look, who to look,
how to look,
where to look, and that's going to be our next topic: finding a mate. I must say this discussion was very enjoyable. It's a little out of the norm of what we usually discuss, right. But that's okay. That's a good thing. We want to increase this discussion
on all topics.
On all topics. We don't want to just sit up here and talk about love,
relationships and
love. I mean, we're enjoying it, but
it's definitely a good thing to talk about that because, like I said the other day, love conquers a multitude of things. God is love. But at the same time, there are some other issues that definitely need to be put on the floor to discuss for insight, if anything, because information is power. Information is powerful. So, with that being said, if there's a topic or something that someone wants to discuss, call us on it. Leave it in a comment. Leave it on our page. We'll get to it, and we'll definitely have that discussion.
And please feel free to go to our page at any time and put on any comments, suggestions that you will like. As I stated when we first started this was something that was put on my heart. I feel it was from God. And if we can just enlighten one person, help one person, we've
done the world of good.
Yeah, we've done something. This is how we take our stand. This is how we try to help. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes people to build that village. And this is how we
are trying to build the village.
Yeah.
And, we thank everybody that's joining in. We really appreciate taking the time out of your day to join in with us. We do.
Thank you so much.
It's very much appreciated.
Tell your friends, tell your families, get more people involved because as I said before, the more feedback we get,
the better off it'll be.
Yeah, and it'll give us joy to keep on going with it. Right. It'll give us incentive to keep on going with it.
And prayerfully, and here in the near future, we could start a podcast and
or just said I'm going to look into how you could link a mic up for callers to call in. Thank you, Or. You're so sweet.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we would like that because we definitely want to keep this going. We also in the future would like to have guests come in and sit in with us, and the mic is a good idea so that we can have people, we can hear people and talk to people, especially especially our co-host, because he got a lot to say, and that's good, but I ain't for all the reading. I'm just messing with you, Or.
That's my man. He always take a stand.
But I like that. I feel the same way you do.
Yeah, he always take a stand.
So, he said LOL.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you for joining us on Hatchett Chronicles, and we will see you in a couple of days with mate issues. How to find a mate.
God bless.
This is Terry and
GL. Frank Hatchett.
That's my boo. I love that man. I didn't get a chance to say that in this one.
You said it when we first started.
Oh, I love that man. I need to be your Bertha. I need to be your guest because I'm going to bring it like you never heard of.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right now.
Yes, sir.
That is no problem. That is no problem.
I definitely want you to come on as a guest.
We got you.
So, we thank y'all. We're going to close out
because I haven't fed my husband, and I have to go feed my husband. Or we ain't forgot. Or who said they wanted the plate? Or.
Okay.
I got you. I might have to cook for you. But we will see you next time. This is Hatchett Chronicles. We out. Peace.